From the frozen battlefields of World War II to the deserts of the Middle East, one family of armored vehicles has defined land warfare more than any other. We're talking about Soviet and Russian tanks. No other nation has designed, built, and fielded such a vast and influential lineage of steel beasts. Today, we're going on a complete historical journey, exploring every major Soviet and Russian tank ever made. It all started in the 1920s. Fresh from a brutal civil war, the new Soviet Union knew it needed modern armored forces to survive. Their first steps were humble. They looked at captured French and British designs, and their very first mass-produced tank, the T-18, was a direct descendant of the French Renault FT. It was small, slow, and lightly armed, but it was a crucial first step toward industrial independence. Early attempts at more complex tanks, like the T-90 and the medium T-24, were mostly failures, plagued by reliability issues. The real revolution came from an unexpected source: America. The Soviets secretly acquired the groundbreaking Christie suspension technology. This was a game changer. It allowed for incredible speed and mobility, giving birth to the BT series of fast tanks. The BT-2, BT-5, and BT-7 could race across the battlefield, a concept that would directly influence the design of their most famous creation. But before that, Soviet doctrine flirted with a different idea: giant, multi-turreted land battleships. Tanks like the medium T-28 and the monstrous 5-turreted T-35 were designed to be breakthrough weapons. They looked impressive in parades but proved to be slow, mechanically complex, and incredibly vulnerable in actual combat, like during the Winter War with Finland. This costly lesson forced a pivot towards simpler, more effective designs. This pivot led directly to the golden age of Soviet tank design, World War II. The war began with a vast fleet of T-26 light tanks, which formed the backbone of the Red Army's armored corps. But the star of the show was, without a doubt, the medium tank T-34. When it first appeared, it shocked the German army. Its combination of sloped armor which deflected incoming shells, a powerful diesel engine, wide tracks that excelled in the mud and snow of the Eastern Front, and a potent 76mm gun made it arguably the most influential tank in history. It completely reshaped armored warfare. As German tanks grew more powerful, on the heavier side, the KV-1 was an absolute monster early in the war, its thick armor proving nearly invulnerable to German anti-tank guns. A variant to KV-2 mounted a massive 152mm howitzer and was nicknamed the Dreadnought for its bunker-busting ability. As the war progressed, the KV series evolved into the IS, or Iosif Stalin, series. The IS-2 was a true beast, a heavy breakthrough tank armed with a devastating 122mm gun designed to obliterate fortifications and heavy German armor. The lessons learned from these brutal battles culminated in the IS-3, whose radical pike-nose sloped armor would influence tank design for decades after the war ended. With victory in World War II, the Cold War began, and the Soviet Union entered an era of tank dominance. The T-44 served as a crucial bridge, connecting the wartime T-34 to the next generation. That next generation was heralded by the T-54. It's considered by many to be the first true main battle tank, or MBT, combining the mobility of a medium tank with armor and firepower approaching that of a heavy tank. Its successor, the T-55, added nuclear, biological, and chemical protection. It became one of the most produced tanks in history, serving in dozens of armies around the world. Then came the T-62, which introduced another game-changing innovation, the smoothbore gun, capable of firing powerful fin-stabilized projectiles at incredible velocities. While the T-54 55th family was a massive success, the Soviets were already working on something far more advanced. The T-64 was a truly revolutionary leap. It introduced the world to composite armor, an automatic loader which reduced the crew to 3, and a highly compact and powerful engine. It was a technological marvel, but also complex and expensive. To complement it, the Soviets developed the T-72, a simplified, more affordable, and robust version designed for mass production. The T-72 became the workhorse of the Warsaw Pact and was exported globally. Finally, to top off this trio of advanced MBTs, the Soviets introduced the T-80, the world's first production tank to be powered by a gas turbine engine, giving it exceptional speed and mobility, much like a jet engine on tracks. During this time, the concept of the dedicated heavy tank had its last gasp. Massive post-war experiments like the IS-4 and the futuristic IS-7 never went into full production. The last of the Soviet heavies was the T-10, which served 4 years before the MBT concept made it obsolete. Meanwhile, specialized roles were filled by tanks like the amphibious PT-76, a light reconnaissance vehicle that could swim across rivers. And behind all these production models were hundreds of experimental object prototypes, like the Radical 4-tracked, nuclear-proof Object 279, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. As the Cold War neared its end in the 1980s, development continued at a frantic pace. The T-72B and T-80U variants received significantly improved armor, including explosive reactive armor and more advanced fire control systems. The Soviets were also developing next-generation tanks like the Object 187 and the formidable T-95. But the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 meant these expensive projects were cancelled. The newly formed Russian Federation inherited this massive armored legacy. Their first major post-Soviet tank was the T-90. It was essentially a deep evolution of the T-72, but incorporated the advanced fire control systems of the T-80 and a new generation of armor and countermeasures. The T-90 has since been continuously upgraded, with the modern T-90M Prodi featuring enhanced survivability systems and a much deadlier cannon. Today, Russia continues to innovate. The T-14 Armata represents a revolutionary shift in design. It features an unmanned turret, with the 3-man crew sitting together in a heavily protected armored capsule in the hull. It's packed with advanced sensors and an active protection system designed to shoot down incoming rockets and missiles. Alongside the Armata, Russia continues to modernize its vast Cold War fleet. The T-80BVM is an upgrade optimized for Arctic warfare, while the T-72B3 is a cost-effective modernization that keeps thousands of older tanks relevant on the modern battlefield. We also can't forget the countless specialized variants, from flamethrower tanks and bridge layers to heavily armored engineering and recovery vehicles. Looking back, a clear design philosophy emerges. Soviet and Russian tanks have always prioritized a low silhouette, making them harder to hit. They were designed for mass production, emphasizing simplicity and reliability under harsh battlefield conditions. The widespread adoption of autoloaders allowed for smaller turrets and a reduced crew size. And above all, they focused on heavy frontal armor and raw, uncompromising firepower, from the humble T-18 to the revolutionary T-14 Armata. The history of Soviet and Russian tank design is a story of innovation, adaptation, and immense influence. No other nation's armored vehicles have had such a profound impact on warfare across the globe. Their design principles and technological firsts have shaped the battlefield for a century, and their legacy continues to rumble on in the tanks of today and tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into military history, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.